You just coughed in my intro. I want you to know that. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Arms Room 15 podcast. We are back in the Arms Room again. Threw a little couple extra different things up there. We're building our wall here. Devin, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Devin?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Eric?
Doing great.
Doing great. What? You got a little toy there. It seems like every week on the podcast you got a new toy. What is that there?
So this is a FM 509 Tactical. So
Clear?
yeah,
All right.
clear. It's a beautiful little gun. It's got suppressor level tritium night sights on it. A 5-inch threaded barrel, chambered in
Nice.
9mm. It's a full size pistol, and what I don't have with me at the moment, because I keep that one loaded, is a 24 round magazine that fits in this thing. It's beautiful.
It's like a Glock stick without the Glock.
Oh, and it's optic ready. I didn't
And
mention
it's
that.
RMR ready? Nice. It's got the cuts in it.
Oh yeah.
All
All I
right.
gotta do is take the plate off. I can put my optic on there whenever I get one, but those are pricey.
I like those the guards next to the rear sight.
Mm-hmm.
Those are kind of nice.
That is kind of nice. I like that. You know what? That's also got like serrations on it. It's almost as if you could like one hand that thing
Yeah.
on your belt if you had
That
to.
could be. That could be exactly what it's for.
Maybe.
I like it, man. So that he's gonna go ahead and display that right there. If you're wondering, I mean, this is a gun podcast. This is what we do. He brings something just to display it on the table, and I'm good with that. All right, so gentlemen, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We may get a little deep on this one.
Yeah. He said he had this question and I haven't heard anything
I haven't
about
told
it.
them what it is because I want them to answer it for real. No time to think about it on this podcast right now.
Mom, I'm scared.
Be gentle.
All right, so here's my question, and honestly, you can take a second to think about it. I'll flap my lips for a couple minutes if you need the time. But do you think that God is punishing the United States right now?
What do you think?
And I say that. Hold on, I say that because look, California just got slammed with a hurricane and had a earthquake in the middle of it, right? And if you look at different things, like over the last 10, 15 years, morals and values have just completely eroded. And I'm not going to get political. This is not to say whose side you're on, whatever.
But he will get religious.
Hey, I don't shy away from that. We're all Christians here. We're all adults. I don't shy away from that.
I'm wearing a Firm Believer Jesus hat, so...
Yeah. I mean, so we don't shy away from it, but I just want to know, like, do you think, because I had this was a shower thought for me, guys. The other day I was thinking about it and I was like,
Sounds like it.
the other day I was thinking about it, because we talked about Civil War, right?
Yeah.
And coming up soon here, we may be talking about World War III, but I thought about it and I'm like, so what if we did fight one side or the other? I mean, because if God is punishing all of us, to me it seems like a lose-lose if God is punishing the United States.
Want to throw out your ideas? Your thoughts?
So my thoughts on the subject is it possible? I mean, yeah, I'd say it's possible. I mean, we don't want to look at like one natural disaster and then confirm, like, okay,
Of
this
course.
is a punishment. Because, I mean, by that definition, Florida gets punished every year because we get
Yeah.
hurricanes.
Right.
But,
I mean, Katrina.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
We should be punished every year.
Have you ever seen all the Florida Man stuff?
Yeah. God's
But,
like, Florida man,
Send another
shaking his
hurricane.
head.
Send another hurricane.
Send another one.
Yeah. But no, so like one of the things that I find interesting is a lot of people say that God is angry with America because of certain policies, and again, not going to get political with it, but certain
Yeah.
policies that are in place. The only difference is that when we see God punishing nations throughout like the Old Testament, those nations were punished because those entire kingdoms and nations were depraved. Right? Like Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham was pleading with God, like if you find 50 people, if you find 20 people, if you find 10 people, if you find one person that's righteous, will you spare it? And God says, yes, if I find one, I will spare it. And the cities got destroyed.
That was Lot, not Abraham.
No, Lot was in the city. Abraham was the one pleading with God.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mixed up. My bad. I was like, wait a minute. Wasn't that Lot? Never mind.
No. Even I had to think about it for a second. I was like, wait, am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong.
You are both correct.
Okay, we're both correct.
But we do tend to see that's why a lot of
That's an
cities tend
excellent
to get
point.
destroyed. The thing about America is America's foundation as a nation is personal liberty, individual freedom, right? So they can make laws to make something legal, but that doesn't mean we have to indulge in it. And because we are Christians, we have certain things in our faith that we would see and be legal. Like, for example, getting drunk. It's legal. We're allowed to get drunk. Can't drive drunk, but we can get drunk and party up our house. But because of our faith, we don't do that. So it would make more sense to me that if God is going to punish people for doing the wrong thing, it would be the people who choose to indulge in it rather than choosing to, rather than the ones who are punishing the whole nation, because the nation is filled with people who are purposely avoiding those things.
Yeah.
Because of their faith, right? And now, obviously, again, not trying to get too political here, California's kind of gone off the rockers.
I mean, they got slammed with a hurricane and a freaking earthquake in the same week.
Well, that's not what I'm referring to, but
that's rough. Okay. No, another reason why I thought about that is God punishing, because like it talks about in the end times, like He will make rivers in the desert, and if you look, they got 6 times the amount of rain in 1 week that they normally get in a year. So I know, I'm stretching, but I thought of this question because of the stretching. I thought, man, the Bible talks about, yeah. Go ahead.
Throw my little 2 cents. I agree a lot with him as far as like the Old Testament and things like that.
Okay.
The thing I would take further though is that I do not believe America or even California is being punished by God.
Okay.
Because of the finished work of Jesus Christ.
I like it.
The whole purpose, the reason we don't have Sodom and Gomorrahs and things like that, or Ninevehs or anything anymore, is because of the finished work of Jesus Christ.
That's a valid point.
Yeah, if we
that's so good, dude.
If we had not, the reason a lot of times, like you were talking about, how entire nations were just depraved and gone, is because that's the default of man.
Yeah,
and that was also the time when your salvation was totally based on works rather than based on Christ.
Atonement. Specifically, atonement works. But mostly atonement through like sacrifices and abiding by God's law, not just any law, but God's law specifically, which are works and things like that. But you had to go through priests, and you had to go through the things, the holy men of God who had to go even further. So that was at that time. That's basically you either repented or you were destroyed, either through your own actions or by the actions directed by God.
Sure.
If you take Sodom and Gomorrah and you take Nineveh, Sodom and Gomorrah and they didn't repent, wiped out. Nineveh repented, shown mercy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of how the way God operated in the Old Testament until He sent God or Jesus, God's Son.
I mean, if you really want a nation of like a story of like nations going up and down, up and down, up and down, you just need to read First and Second Kings.
Right.
That's the whole premise of First and Second Kings.
Just look at Israel. We can get a lot of information from just seeing God's people.
Yeah.
But
so I do think though the one thing that I'll always take further is maybe it's not a punishment.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's possible that God would use something like a natural disaster to kind of like try to spark a little bit of faith in people. Because obviously in times of trying times and great tragedy, people tend to search for something higher to lean on, you know?
I would say...
So,
I would agree with that he could use that. I don't necessarily say he would be sending it to use it. I would say bad things happen because we're in a fallen world, and then through that God can use it as a way of
I mean, because ultimately,
or even bringing non-believers.
Because I mean, ultimately, the ultimate punishment, like he said now, because I was kind of thinking about it as he was saying, the ultimate punishment now is, you know, your punishment's going to come individually to you when you perish if you don't submit to Christ and accept Him.
Or even on earth, because God will at times just leave you to your sin.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, because that's what I was thinking when you were talking. I thought, you know what, that could be God just saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to take my hands off. You guys want to do this? Have at it. Go for it. So I'm glad you brought that up, but also I wanted to touch on the fact that, like, when you said we don't have those anymore because of the finished work of Christ, I was like, I'm such an idiot. I should have thought of that.
I felt that a little bit
These
too,
are just
to be honest.
shower thoughts, right? So I started thinking about this, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to ask this on the podcast. And then I'm like, man, that was excellent answers
You hit the
on
nail on the
both
head.
of you guys. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I it was just a thought, and I wanted to throw it out there. But, I mean, you guys both, like, dang. I was not expecting that. That was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So now you know what I think.
fantastic. All right. Shall we get started to the original plan?
Yeah. So we're gonna probably go ahead and do this one as its own little short.
We'll do a
version.
short for it.
Yeah.
Sounds
Short.
good. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our short of the day. We'll, short of the week. Short for now. So, Devin's always short, but we will. Sorry. He's always throwing short jokes. I figured I'd throw one in there.
It's okay. I get revenge in the edits.
Oh, no.
Devin, high five.
He is our editor, so.
Probably listen to 30 seconds.
He's like, let me borrow this and just dump it on your laptop for you.
Oops.
That's a little bit of short though, but can I actually? No pun intended. But can I? Can I add maybe another question I just kind of thought of?
Yeah, let's do it.
This should be very brief, but like last week we talked about Civil War and stuff. What it might look like.
Yeah.
Jesus did prophesy in the Gospels that in the end times, or really the beginning of birth pains, rather, there would be wars and rumors of wars.
Yeah.
Do you think the possible civil war or some type of existential war happening would be the sign of Christ coming back very soon?
I think that.
No, because as you just pointed out, it's the growing pains. It literally says
Right, but when
there will
you
be wars and rumors of wars.
But this is just the
these
beginning.
or not even. He doesn't even say that about the wars part. He said these are not the signs of the times.
Oh.
These are literally not the signs. So war would not be.
I must have missed that part.
Yeah, it's hard to because actually it was Brooks reading that.
I
couple days
just
ago.
remember because I read ESV and it
can
says
look it
these are not the fear not, for these are not the times, but these are the birth pains.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
a sign that
yeah,
the times are coming.
So he says, wars and rumors of wars, these are not the signs. Then he continues with other things and says, these are the birth pains. And then he goes into
What version?
It could be any version, honestly.
Okay.
It should all be generally the same.
Because like I was also thinking, I've been through Revelations twice.
Yeah.
And it does talk about like the rise and falls of kingdoms and stuff,
Yeah.
and it talks about
Although
like,
it's
and so I'm also
different-
kind
if
of
it's a
like
different type
thinking about like that.
So in Revelation, the signs, it's not the wars and rumors of war stuff. It's
Right.
talking about like very specific, like key points. Like it's like laying out basically a roadmap
Yeah.
of what types of wars is going to happen.
So that's found in Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. It says, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Make sure that you are not alarmed, for this must happen. But the end is still to come." So basically saying that it's not the end, but don't be alarmed. These things will happen. And
Right.
verse 7 says, "For nation will rise up in arms against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these things are the beginning of birth pains."
Yeah, there you go. So yeah.
So, I
And
mean,
then in 7 is when he starts talking about what actually will happen for the end times.
what do you mean? That was verse
Yeah,
6, 7, and 8.
Or try and read number 9 then.
9, it says, "Then they will hand you over to be persecuted and will kill you. You will be hated by all nations because of my name. Then many will be led into sin, and they will betray one another and hate one another." Friendly fire is not on.
I don't know. I think I confirmed that it was.
Yeah, but number
The Bible confirms that, I mean, people are going to betray one another, so.
Yeah, number 9 is what I was thinking of.
Okay.
See, because the amount of times I've heard those verses misquoted.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like I literally during the riots, there was literally a guy I followed on Instagram.
Oh,
during
I
the
had
riots
to
of
shut off
2020.
social media completely during that time.
So
It was bad.
there was a guy. He considers himself to be a maybe like a prophet, so to speak. Like he talks a lot about the end. I mean, I don't know if
Sorry,
prophet's the
I
right
can't
word,
stand people like
but
that.
he talked a lot about the end times and stuff and how it's coming. And he was saying how the 2020 riots were a sign because nation will rise up against nation and kingdom will rise up against kingdom. I'm like, you realize this is America still, right? Like, this is the same kingdom.
All right. Well, it is a kingdom.
And plus, most of his ideas of how the end times would occur were actually based in conspiracy theory rather than scripture.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I will say this. This is unpopular opinion. I still stand by it. I firmly believe that New Year's 2020, when we stepped into 2020, I believe we stepped into the chapter of Revelation. I firmly believe that. Now, how long is it going to take to get from the chapter to the first verse? I don't know, but
Want me to give you a really crazy hot take?
let's hear the hot take.
The end times. We stepped into the chapter of the end times in 1969 when we set our foot on the moon.
You want another hot take?
That never happened.
Ask Buzz Aldrin, okay? The guy said it never happened. I don't know. That's another conspiracy theory.
Definitely did not say that.
I promise you, there's video of him saying it.
I guarantee it
The
was-
moon
it was-
landing
it
never
was out of
happened.
Context.
The moon landing never happened. Buzz Aldrin. Possibly.
Maybe.
It's like, stay strapped or get clapped. George Washington.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Probably.
Definitely. In different terms, I mean.
No, we're totally kidding about all this stuff, you know that.
Right.
We're not that nuts.
No, we just toss conspiracy theories around like a ball, like a volleyball. Oop, I should have put that on silent. My apologies.
Look at you ruining
Please silence all cell phones.
our lives
Your lives.
with the phone.
I mean, I didn't realize we made a whole butt ton of money off this podcast.
No, we don't. But
Well, his life got ruined when he found that genie in a bottle.
What do you need?
that's right.
You found a genie in a bottle?
Yeah, do you know what happened?
What?
Devin used to be like 6'4", but his
Yeah.
first wish was, I want my dingling to hang down past my knees, and he came out 5 foot.
Can we edit that? Can we edit that? Please, can we edit that? Just get rid of that whole section. Just cancel that. Alright, you're canceled. Shut his mic off. You're canceled. Alright, Lord forgive him. Alright. Well, if we've got nothing else, we can leave that as a short.
That was like an insult wrapped in a compliment.
I know. That was the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This was going to be a quick short, so we'll have our War Penguin editor over here. He will get that edited, probably make fun of me somehow. There'll probably be like a thought bubble over here somewhere, you know, something. I
Just
don't
put
know.
it right there.
Yep.
I mean,
I have
hey.
a constant, like, I'm going to put something weird on your face and just constantly add it there.
This is going to be an interesting one to see after he edits it.
Make him look like Ronald McDonald.
Hey!
Hey.
No, I don't like clowns. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. That's it for this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Any last words?
No.
No. What about you?
No,
No, if you don't get last words. That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
If you find
Thank
a
you.
genie in a bottle, just leave it alone.